Peace, family. This is Minister Kojo Shabazz from the Shabazz Associates, also Hoab DFW. So there's a couple of questions that maybe I get a lot of, and it's just like for new nationals, and it's how do you actually use your tax exemption, card? And we're gonna kind of walk you through it. Last time I tried to do these videos, somehow YouTube will remove it. So I'm gonna attempt it again and see if we can get this uploaded so that way you guys can watch it and it's a lot easy, right? So I'm gonna walk through a couple of slides, and I won't show the ID card because I think maybe that's why it flagged it, but you'll get an idea, right? So let's look at the screen, right? So you'll get a tax exemption card that looks like this, right? Hopefully y'all can see on my screen. So this is what you'll see what you'll get, right? And in most places, when you're going to stores, for example, maybe you're going to a restaurant and they give you the bill. Well, you can always show them your tax exemption card, right? What you're seeing on the screen, and they should be able to remove the taxes, right? Because that is your right, that is your constitutional right, and that's what's something that you need to understand as a national, right? Is that it is a constitutional right to be tax exempt and for your property to not be taxed, right? And things of that nature. So you give them the card. Sometimes they may have a manager that knows what they're doing. Sometimes they have an employee that doesn't know what they're doing. And in that case, you just need to tell, like, just go get your manager, and they should be trained enough to know what to do. They'll put in the authentication number in their system, and then you should be good to go. They may ask you for more information, like putting your name and stuff like that, and that's okay. And we'll talk about a little bit about this form right here that you're seeing on my screen. Each state usually has their own sales tax exemption form. Sometimes they make you fill this out, but I won't get to that yet because that's a little bit more complicated, right? So let's go to some of the typical stores that maybe people may shop at, right? So Walmart, that's another example. Usually, what you need to do is, and I think they may have online this process. I know they have, but basically, you can go to the customer service department of Walmart, fill out the application utilizing your certificate of nationality information as well as your ID credentials, and you'll make a copy of that. They'll make a copy of that for you. Um, you'll put down government agency or check government agency as far as that box goes, and then you'll get a card to use in Walmart as an example. And it shouldn't take that long. Sometimes I know what happens. They're like, "Oh, we don't recognize that ID," or "Oh, that doesn't follow our guidelines." And in that case, family, I don't want you to get stressed out. I don't want you to get frustrated. This is part of the rites of passage as you claiming your right, your birthright. Go to another store. Go to another store, and you'll find a remedy going to a different store. They'll work with you. Just some people are just basically they're jealous or they're like, how can you have it? So they try to block you and make it complicated and difficult for you. And it's really not that difficult, right? You have all the information. This is not fraudulent. You need to understand what you have in front of you. That's important. If you're going in there timid, nervous, it's a mindset. You know what you have, utilize it, right? Don't pay taxes. So legally, another example of a store, Staples. You need to go inside the store of Staples. They'll give you a pamphlet. You fill out the information based off of your credentials. Um, and then they'll give you a temporary card. And then once you hear back from them, you'll get a permanent card and all this other stuff, and you'll be good to go. It'll be sent to your address. They'll make a copy of your credential right here that you're seeing on the screen, and then you're good to go. Another place that is very common is hotels, right? We all go to the summit. Maybe you guys come to the Aboriginal powwow down in Dallas, right? And you need a hotel to stay. Well, I give you an example: Holiday Inn, right? Holiday Inn. All you need to do is show them your credential. They'll make a copy of your ID, your credential, and your card, right? That you're paying with. And as long as the information matches, you're good to go, right? No problem. Even if it doesn't matches, in most cases, we don't want to put ourselves in that position because usually you have opened up your business bank account. So you have something with those credentials. So you want to make sure things are matching, right? But they usually still honor the exemption anyway, and you're good to go. They'll give you a copy of the receipt. things of that nature. It's really not that difficult in most cases, right? Now, once we actually start going into places, sometimes like Dollar Tree, sometimes you can get away with just showing them your tax exempt ID. Sometimes they'll make you fill out a sales tax exemption certificate, right? And in that case, you would just fill out or go to your local comptroller for your state, and get the certificate, right? And then you'll fill it out appropriately, right? Based off of the information, you'll put the store name, right, as the seller. You'll put your information, and then you're good to go. And that's really it, right? And then and sometimes you may need to make a copy of your credential because, in that case, so that they have it on file, right? So that way you don't have to do it again. And then they'll just look up your information, they'll see it, and then you're good to go, right? And that's usually it, right? Um, Most stores, you just need to let them know you're tax exempt. They need to make a copy of your ID, and that's usually you're good to go. So these are the most practical ways of going about tax exemption, right? So hopefully that all makes sense what I'm breaking down to you, and it's really not that difficult. From whether you're going to restaurants, some places have different procedures. Like, I'll give you another example: Best Buy. Best Buy is another thing that you have to go in. You fill out the application. I think you do it online. They'll make a copy, and sometimes you just go to the store, right? They'll make a copy of your ID, put all the appropriate information, based off of the ID, maybe your certificate of nationality. And once you're done, they'll give you a card. It's yellow. Boom, you're good to go. Right. Same thing goes with Amazon, right? You can be tax exempt on Amazon. There's a process for that, and it's pretty straightforward. The idea is that you want to be tapping in, utilizing your credentials. You have a constitutional right to be tax exempt, and you just need to enforce it. I know I gave an example of Wegmans. Wegmans is a grocery store in New York. Again, their process is a little different. So you would just need to go to the customer service or accounting area, give them a copy of your credentials, and they should put you in the system where you're good to go, where you don't have to do it ever again. And they'll, every time you go check out, they'll be able to find you and then they'll check you out. So different stores have different policies, but for the most part, it's generally the same. And this is how you want to go about tax exemption, right? So if there's any questions on that, feel free to reach out to us. Again, it's pretty straightforward. Um, yeah, and it's not that difficult, family. The idea is that you want to enforce your birthright, you want to enforce your constitutional right, and that's really it. So, on that note, family, peace. And if you have any comments, questions, leave them below, or just schedule a consultation at shabazassociates.com, and we'll be able to get you squared away, or hawabdfw.org. Either way. All right, peace, family.